So after 10 weeks of lockdown, and I have no idea how many episodes of Bob Ross later, I've decided I can be an oil painter. But before I can do that, I gotta build one of these things here, a nice paint palette. So welcome everyone. If you're new here, I'm Jason, the creator of the Tabletop Battlefield. And no, I don't talk about oil painting much on this show, but I need a simple project to fill some time this week, so that's what this ended up being. And yes, I'm dead serious about watching too many episodes of Bob Ross. And I am dead serious about trying oil painting. I mean, I've done tons of miniature painting over the years, and there are some different techniques, because obviously oil versus acrylic is very different. But at the high level, a lot of the ideas transit over from highlighting and shadows and all that kind of a stuff. So it'll be probably a fun thing to see if I can actually do a halfway decent job of it after watching Bob Ross for 30 years. But hey, I don't know. Let's get started with the building process. So what am I going to use for my paint palette? Cedar. Why am I using cedar? I didn't do any research, nothing like that, no real answer. But I built another one of those cedar planters. So more details on that coming in a few weeks. Got another video on that topic. But I have a whole bunch of these pieces left over because they're kind of the extra cutoff. So hey, why not use those to make a paint palette? So in a moment here, I'm going to be gluing these two pieces together. But while those are drying, I want to actually create a template for my palette. So I'm going to be experimenting with some cardboard to figure out what shape I want to use. However, what I need to do first is use these two pieces of the wood to figure out what the maximum size of the palette can be. Well, that's convenient. I got lucky there, didn't I? So pretty much trial and error here. I'm going to draw some shapes out and see which ones feel good and go from there. Now, is this necessary? No. Is this fun? Yeah. This kind of blows for cutting cardboard. Alrighty. Yeah, it worked in my head. Guess we'll do it the hard way then. Oh wait, I got a better idea. Better idea than that? Maybe. So this shape actually works pretty well. I got a good grip on over here. It feels pretty comfortable. And the way it sits, it kind of sits on my arm, so I can use my arm to support it as I'm trying to pretend to be a television painter. I should make some videos of when I actually do this painting. It'd be hilarious. But I don't know. Anyway, template's good. Once that's done drying there, we'll make the real final wood palette. Glue up is done. Let's get this cleaned up. I'm going to use my orbital sander to smooth it out and then cut the shape out using my jigsaw. One thing I forgot to mention with the build process, sharp edges are kind of bad. So let's take a round over bed here in the router and go around the outside of the palette. Just finished a lot of sanding, can you tell? Okay, time to get a nice wood finish on our palette here. Now I've been told, which means I read a website or two, that boiled linseed oil is your ideal wood finish for an oil paint palette. Now in fact, Bob Ross actually mentioned using this as a paint thinner in one episode. I've watched a lot of shows for the last 10 weeks of being locked down here in Michigan. Lots of Bob Ross. Fortunately, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's, you know, it's probably, if you got to watch a crap ton of episodes of any show, it's probably a good one. Okay,
So let's just get this guy on the wood and we'll go from there. Now, one thing I do notice on the back of this, what I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing the typical warning may cause brain damage and death kind of warning statements here. Spontaneous combustion, but not brain death.
And with that, we can call this project done. Now, one note about the finish. Oftentimes when I see furniture videos talking about a boiled linseed finish for wood, they do a second step involving some sort of wax coating. I did not do that here. I didn't see any references about that when it comes to making paint palettes. So I'm not entirely sure how that wax coating would affect the actual paint. So I left that off for this particular project. We'll see if that is a good idea or not. And it got done in good time because look what just showed up. I wasn't kidding about watching too much Bob Ross. That is the Bob Ross Oil Painting Master Series. I have no idea who's in charge of his brand, anymore, since he obviously passed away, 20-some years ago? But it's got a good set of stuff in here. At least it seems like on paper a good value. Obviously, you assume that as long as things are good quality, it is a good value because it's a little bit cheaper than buying things individually, all that kind of stuff. And for those of you in the United States, there is actually a difference between an international version and a US version. I apparently bought the international version by mistake somehow. The difference is that the international version doesn't come with any odorless paint thinner. Shipping reasons they can't do that, but if you have the US version, you get the odorless paint thinner in here. The other thing that is not in here is a filbert brush. It's one of the things Bob Ross uses to paint the non-conifer big happy trees. So I got to pick one of those up, and of course you need an easel and canvas and all this stuff, and that's not in here. This is just most of the artistic supply of things. But with that, thank you guys all for watching. If you do actually want to see me reports and videos painting with this thing, it might actually be kind of fun. It could be hilarious, just total travesty train wreck, because I got no problem making videos like that. Leave a comment about that, and heck, maybe I will film a few. It could be fun. But I am seriously going to try it and see what happens, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can go in terms of oil painting beyond what Bob Ross did. He was always kind of limited by a 30-minute television show, and because of that, that's why his stuff was always kind of the same basic thing. But you can find other people on YouTube. Paint with Kevin? He kind of takes Bob Ross's techniques, expands on them to much longer paintings. You get some really, really cool stuff. But I think I already said thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Jason. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that screwy stuff, because I got some more woodworking projects. We'll get back to tabletop gaming and micro flash. I'll finish them up soon, I promise. Have a great week, guys.